Up to you.
Yeah. Like this.
Imagine walking into the gym, feeling unstoppable. Every mirror reflecting your confidence. Every rep reminding you that you own this space. But then reality hits, because in that same gym stands Anatoly, the quiet giant who doesn't need to boast. His strength speaks louder than words. Today, we're diving into the jaw-dropping moment when a bodybuilder, blinded by ego, decided to mock Anatoly in front of everyone. What happened next? No one could have predicted it. The laughter stopped, the cameras turned, and the crowd witnessed something they'll never forget. Stay until the end, because the way this story unfolds will make you rethink everything you know about true strength, humility, and respect. Anatoly isn't just another guy lifting weights. He's a walking storm of discipline, humility, and raw power. Every person in that gym knows his name, but few truly understand what makes him different. He doesn't talk much, he doesn't show off, and he doesn't need to. When Anatoly grips the bar, the entire room goes silent. You can feel the air change, as if even the walls are holding their breath, waiting to see how far he'll push the limits this time. He's the kind of man who's built not just muscle, but respect. While others measure strength in pounds and plates, Anatoly measures it in patience, focus, and control. He's known for his calm, almost monk-like demeanor, the man who answers arrogance not with words, but with performance. Most people walk into the gym to prove something to others. They flex, they pose, they shout after every lift, trying to make sure the world notices them. But Anatoly, he walks in with quiet confidence. His mission isn't to impress, it's to elevate. For him, every rep is a battle against yesterday's version of himself. But then, one day, something unusual happened. Among the clanging weights and the smell of sweat, a newcomer decided to test him. This guy, full of pride and bravado, laughed when he saw Anatoly's modest warm-up routine. He didn't see the calm before the storm, only what he thought was weakness. With a smirk, he whispered loud enough for others to hear, "That's the famous Anatoly? Doesn't look so special to me." Everyone froze. Eyes turned. Cameras came out. The room filled with that dangerous tension, the kind that comes right before something unforgettable. Anatoly didn't flinch. He didn't even look at the man. Instead, he calmly adjusted the weights, adding more plates, one after another, until the bar bent under the pressure. Then, with perfect silence, he stepped forward, locked his grip, and lifted. No shouting, no ego, just pure, controlled strength. The sound of the barbell hitting the floor echoed through the room like thunder. The challenger's grin faded instantly. What he had mistaken for weakness was actually mastery. The crowd erupted, not in chaos, but in awe. That day, everyone learned a simple truth. Real strength doesn't brag, it proves. And Anatoly, he didn't say a word. He just nodded, wiped his hands, and walked away, leaving behind nothing but silence, respect, and one unforgettable lesson. It started like any other day at the gym. The clanging of metal, the deep bass of workout music, and the steady rhythm of determination echoing off the walls. Among the crowd was a bodybuilder, big, confident, and loud. The kind of guy everyone notices the moment he walks in. His muscles weren't the only thing oversized. His ego was too. Across the room, Anatoly was doing what he always did, quietly preparing, focused, calm, lost in his own zone. He wasn't showing off, he wasn't recording himself, he was simply working. His warm-up routine looked light, effortless, almost casual. That's when the bodybuilder noticed him. He smirked, nudged his friends, and whispered loud enough for everyone to hear, "Look at this guy pretending to lift." They all chuckled, but little did they know, Anatoly's warm-up weights were heavier than what most lifters could handle on their best day. Each rep he did was smooth and controlled, like a professional dancer rehearsing a move he had mastered years ago. Still, the mocking grew louder. The whispers turned into snickers, then into bold remarks, echoing across the gym in hopes of catching Anatoly's attention.
But Anatoly didn't bite. He stayed calm, his eyes fixed on the barbell, his breathing steady. There was something unsettling about his silence. It wasn't weakness. It was the kind of calm that comes before a storm. Every person who'd ever seen Anatoly train knew what was about to happen. The regulars stopped what they were doing. Phones came out. The energy in the room shifted. Everyone could sense that this was no longer a normal gym session. It was the beginning of a lesson in humility. And Anatoly was about to teach it the only way he knew how, with silence, precision, and a lift no one would ever forget. Anatoly didn't talk, not a single word. No anger, no eye contact, just a calm, focused silence that somehow felt louder than any insult. He walked toward the rack, his face unreadable, and began adding plates. 1, 2, 3, until the bar looked almost impossible to lift. The sound of the metal sliding onto steel echoed through the room like a countdown. The gym, moments ago filled with laughter and chatter, suddenly grew still. Even the music seemed to fade into the background. Everyone could feel that something was about to happen, something rare, something real. Anatoly took his position. He tightened his belt, adjusted his grip, and inhaled deeply. Time slowed. You could hear nothing but his breath and the faint creak of the bar bending under the weight. Then, with flawless control, he lifted. The bar flexed like a bow ready to snap. His muscles tensed, veins visible, but his expression never changed. Calm, focused, in control. The floor trembled beneath him. The weight rose, steady and smooth, as if gravity itself had given up trying to stop him. And when he finally locked out the lift, the room erupted. Gasps, disbelief, admiration. Phones captured every second, but no camera could capture the energy in that room. The mocker? Frozen. His smirk disappeared faster than his pride. His friends, who moments ago were laughing, stood silent. Jaws dropped, eyes wide. That was the moment they realized this wasn't a show-off. This was strength in its purest form. Anatoly lowered the bar with precision, stepped back, and without saying a word, simply nodded. He didn't need applause. He didn't need validation. He just walked away, leaving behind a lesson that every person in that gym would remember for the rest of their lives. True power doesn't shout. It proves. When Anatoly finished the lift, the sound of the barbell hitting the ground echoed through the gym like thunder. Dust rose from the floor, mixing with the heavy silence that followed. Every eye was locked on him, the man who had just redefined what strength looks like.
He slowly turned his head and looked directly at the man who had mocked him. Not with anger, not with pride, but with calm, unwavering respect. The kind of look that speaks louder than 1,000 words. It wasn't revenge. It was teaching without talking. No insults, no showboating, no need for applause. Anatoly simply stood there, breathing steadily, his calm presence filling the room more powerfully than any victory roar ever could. It was mastery. Quiet, disciplined, unshakable mastery. The bodybuilder, burning with embarrassment yet desperate to save face, stepped forward. "I can do that," he muttered. He loaded the same weight onto the bar, his hands trembling slightly, sweat already forming on his brow. The crowd held its breath. He pulled, once, twice, but the bar didn't move. His muscles strained, his veins bulged, and his confidence shattered. The silence in the room grew heavier with every failed attempt. When he finally gave up, his face was flushed red, his ego crushed beneath the same weight he couldn't lift. And that's when it hit him. Not the barbell, but the truth. The sting of regret. The realization that strength isn't about muscles. It's about mindset, patience, and respect. That lesson landed harder than any deadlift. Anatoly didn't laugh. He didn't gloat. He simply nodded again, wiped his hands, and walked away, leaving behind a silence filled with awe, humility, and one unforgettable message. Real power doesn't humiliate. It inspires. Respect isn't earned through noise, arrogance, or shouting. It's earned through action, through quiet consistency, through the moments when you let your work, not your words, do the talking. That day, Anatoly didn't need to prove anything to anyone. He didn't need to raise his voice or defend himself. His silence spoke volumes, louder than any insult ever could. Every movement, every lift, every calm breath told a story of discipline, patience, and years of dedication that no shortcut or ego could match. The bodybuilder who mocked him walked away different that day. His muscles were the same, but his perspective had changed. He had felt the weight of humility, heavier than any barbell. He finally understood that true power isn't about domination, it's about control. Not over others, but over yourself. And for everyone watching, that moment became a living reminder. Never judge someone by what you think you see. Behind quiet strength, there's often a history of struggle, sacrifice, and purpose. True strength isn't loud. It's not about showing off. It's the perfect balance of humility and discipline, the kind of strength that builds character, not just muscle. Anatoly didn't just lift a bar that day. He lifted an entire room's understanding of what real strength truly means. So, tell me, what would you have done in that gym? Would you have joined the laughter or stood back in silence, waiting to see true strength reveal itself? If you believe that real power comes from respect and humility, drop it in the comments right now. Respect first. Let's fill this space with positive energy and remind the world that greatness doesn't need to shout. It simply shows up. And hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who needs a reminder that ego fades, but respect lasts forever. Because legends like Anatoly aren't just lifting weights, they're lifting standards.